Good evening. Welcome to the March 25th, 2026 Abington Finance Committee meeting. Tonight we have a relatively simple agenda in front of us. I'm calling it up so that I have that. We will be getting the latest update on the FY27 budget, which we are continuing to work on. We do not have a warrant yet, correct?
We're very close to the warrant. I sent a draft to the moderator for him to take a look at, because it was my first crack at doing it. He's away, he took it on vacation, so he's actually sitting on a beach in an undisclosed location reviewing the warrant.
Seems like what you want to do. So we don't have the warrant yet. We've been working towards the balanced budget. We don't have amounts of overrides to vote.
We do.
To vote for.
I did, I passed out, yep.
But we don't have the amounts to vote on this week. We voted on that last week, so
Okay.
it's not on the agenda tonight. So it's just an update, working on, and working towards whatever we can do with the budget and seeing where we're at with that. And then standing business of liaison reports, correspondence, review of minutes, discussing our next meeting, which will be on April Fool's Day. Not a joke. We will be meeting on April Fool's Day. So without further ado, I don't know if Michael or Andrew wants to
I'll let Andrew do the update.
where we're at.
There hasn't been much change. I gave everyone a copy of what the question will look like. The difference is the one that's on the ballot will have yes and no next to each one of these. And then Andrew, I'll
So
let
for
you.
those looking at home, Andrew, do you have a,
I don't have it electronically.
okay, we don't have it electronically. I will hold it up in case that helps. This way. I'm looking at the reflection in the view, so I'm sure everyone can read that based off of what I'm looking at. But it is what the warrant article will look like for the over.
May 16th, yep.
And for the May 16th vote. Has the, each department, starting with fire, then police, then school, DPW, Council on Aging, library, and then all other departments consolidated, listed as town hall. It does list the different departments. So,
Yes.
anyone have any questions on that? Comments?
To be clear, this is also what we'll see at town meeting, which will go to vote, but it will be a pass, fail. And then the yes, no for each individual question will be at the, if the override were to pass at town meeting, at the ballot box on the 16th.
That is correct. So at town meeting, the town meeting will be asked to support either a level funded budget or level service. If they vote level service, that would be the second piece, you are correct.
Just wanna make
So we
sure
don't
everyone watching-
actually vote on, do we put this out to vote? We vote on either the level funded or the level service budget.
But do they
if
see
we
it broken
vote-
down like this?
I'm sure that we will have this information to
Correct.
hand out to people at town meeting.
Oh, okay, but it's
this
actually
itself-
just
This itself
one number?
won't be on the
Okay.
warrant.
Got it.
What will be on the warrant would be relevant to this, would be the level service budget, which says we have this much that's not balanced. We would need to go for an override for that.
Right.
And then the override ballot would have the breakdown.
I mean, I know it's like a fairly simple concept, but we
It's
should make it very clear that, because I mean, you're voting to pass for an override,
Yeah.
but you're not actually, so like.
yeah, no, it definitely, there will be a lot of discussion.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, I assume there'll be a lot of questions and discussion from the townsfolk, but there will definitely be a lot of information provided by the moderator, myself, probably the town manager, possibly select board, possibly people from departments.
It is, Mr. Chairman, if I may, it is very confusing for everyday citizens when they come, because you don't have the two budgets sort of competing with one another. And level funded on the surface sounds like to most people, oh, we want a level funded budget. But level funded budget really in fact is a cut because it doesn't factor in the increased cost of the CBAs, health insurance, retirement, any of that stuff. So then level service is where the additional money would be needed. And if the townsfolk wanted a level service budget, then the breakdown of these numbers is what gets you to the level service budget. So they would have to support level service budget at town meeting, and they would then have to support it at the ballot box.
But it wouldn't actually be a level service budget because it will depend on what is voted at the ballot box, what services are actually,
So
which particular services are actually funded. So it's not an all across the board level service budget.
so it's a good point,
Until-
Barbara.
Nope, that's an excellent point.
Good point. I think what the town manager was saying is if it passes, if the level service budget passes at town meeting and all of the overrides individually
correct.
pass, that would be a level service budget.
Correct.
Anything that does not pass goes back to level funded levels.
Then it's like it's a hybrid because you'll have a little of each, because people have the
Or
option to
perhaps
support.
none of each.
Right.
So,
But the vote at town meeting, again, Monday, the 4th.
Yes.
Monday,
7
May
p.m.?
4th.
7 PM,
7
Abington
p.m.
High
I feel
School.
like we should say it at least 20 times during
Yes.
this meeting.
Yes.
But that is a vote to vote on the override.
The way to put it, I think.
A vote to vote on a potential, potential level services, what potential level services there will be.
Sure.
And what potential level funding there will be.
However you want to put it, yes.
Yeah. Any other questions on this?
What if someone got up and tried to amend one of the budgets? Is that possible?
As long as it is within the scope of the warrant article at town meeting, people can offer to make amended motions. Those motions would be taken to a vote on the town if they are like motioned and seconded, like anything else would be.
Yeah.
I think it gets tricky when you're making monetary motions at town meeting because you have to identify funding sources within the motion that you're making,
Yeah.
which is why I have so many words to say a lot of the times at town meeting. So it would need, the moderator would be sort of in charge of that
Oh, okay.
at the meeting when it happens, if it happens.
Do you have something fun planned? Something dramatic up your sleeve?
No, I just, I'm thinking if someone wanted to go up and say, you know, they need extra money, do they need that much extra money? You know? We'll give them half
And either Andrew or more likely Michael can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that typically the way that sort of competing motions work is you do affirmative motions first, but with financial, you would do higher sum first.
Correct, and work your way down.
And work your
Dollar
way
amount.
down
Yep.
if they don't pass. So if we're saying like, if someone was motioning that we, like, perhaps you don't need all of this, we would probably vote on the total amount first. If that doesn't pass, then the motion to amend to a different amount would be voted on next. And
okay.
if that doesn't pass, then the level funded budget would be
Okay.
voted on.
And Mr. Chairman, and it does get to be tricky, and I'll have to ask town council this question. So the ballot will be printed and people will be voting. So to change the numbers makes it a little more complicated. So I'll have to get the answer to that, because that would be a legitimate question.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So what happens is if they changed it at town meeting, the ballot would reflect a different number. Now, at town meeting, if they voted to do level funded versus level service, you would still have the special election and people would vote. I don't want to go too far astray, but I think people need to understand that if in fact then town meeting said level funded, the ballot box said level service, then you have an opportunity to come back and have another town meeting to say, well, town meeting people spoke, and they want a level service budget, so you convene a special town meeting, and then people will have the opportunity to vote it up or down. But in order for the level service or the higher numbers to prevail, you have to have a positive vote at town meeting and a positive vote at the ballot box.
So
Whoa.
I'm confused for a second there. So if the level service budget fails at town meeting and the level funded balanced budget passes, we still have the vote on the override?
That's correct.
So what's the point of the
Be-
vote?
Because it gives you the option to have another town meeting. So if level service didn't pass at town meeting, but you already have the special election with the ballot, people then vote there. If that vote
So,
passes, then the option would be to have another town meeting.
so essentially, the override vote, the special election is already set in stone. We're not voting at town meeting on whether or not we go for an override.
That's correct, because people will already be voting. They'll
Oh,
be
so we're
early
voting at the ballot no matter what.
That's correct.
So-
I
Sorry, I guess I
I don't
misunderstood.
think any of us.
No.
So
definitely
then, the
was not
threshold
aware.
for, so it has to pass at town meeting and the ballot.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay,
So if it only passes at once, so let's do the
So
example,
the example, it fails at town meeting, passes at the
second
ballot.
town meeting,
passes at the ballot, there would need to be another town meeting.
town meeting,
and it would
correct.
have to pass.
And it would have to pass at
That's
that
correct.
town meeting.
What if it fails?
That's it, then it's level funded.
This
not
doesn't
level
go on
service.
forever, right?
No, that's it, yeah.
And this is because the select board set there to be a special election. So the special election happens either way?
That's correct.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah. How did we just find this out?
I don't know if we've broken it down to that
Yeah.
level of detail.
Okay.
So I know we mentioned previously expecting that it had to pass a town meeting to go to the ballot, but I don't think. We do have a member of the audience here. Mike, do you want to come up to the microphone? It's okay. I think we're all.
Join the crowd.
We're all
Yeah.
confused, but
You
can
wanna sit up
can
here?
you come, can you come up to the microphone so that people
So they can hear.
can hear you? Because if you don't, I have to repeat everything you say.
Oh, bring it to you.
Sit here. Stretch.
Thank you, Matt. Mike Brady, 726 Washington Street.
Thanks, Mike.
I think the problem, in my mind, is to have the election anyways. Town meeting should decide. Town meeting might go in my opinion, might go in and say no to one. So say, for instance, the police, and yes to the fire. So the police
So,
shouldn't be on the ballot.
so real quick on that. Town meeting is not voting menu style. Town meeting is voting on whether or not
That makes no sense.
it's,
No sense.
Yeah.
So, all right.
that would be a question to take up with the select board.
Right, so if you
Well,
want,
it's
I
too
agree
late.
with you, Mike. I think it's confusing.
It is
to-
definitely,
Which
it
is
is
why we
definitely
Not a level
confusing.
service budget because we don't know what services would be level.
Right, and Barbara, you know only too well, it doesn't take very much to confuse me.
well, and that's why I started with the original, wanting to make the point that it's a vote to vote
Yes.
on the override. So if you want any part of the level service budget to pass at town meeting, you would vote,
Yeah,
Yes.
if you want any part of the override,
right.
then you vote yes on the
Yes.
level
And
service
then go to the
budget as a
ballot and
whole.
vote for whatever specific pieces you want. Oh, yeah.
I think what makes it confusing is calling any aspect of it a level service budget.
I think what's confusing is we got the cart before the horse. We're having an election, and I don't know why, for the life of me, I don't know why we're having the election anyways, because town meeting could say yes to everything, you'd have an election. It could say no to everything, you'd eliminate the election.
I'm going to guess, and I could be wrong on this, timing is a timing and the
July
rules
1st is the
and the
beginning.
rules around when we are able to, or how long beforehand do you have to post things to
You
have a
know, but
special
in
election?
all due respect, you're
And
talking about having
how
a
quickly
second
we have to.
election.
I know.
And
I-
where does the timing come
Again,
in for
I'm,
that?
I'm saying, this is what I believe is the case. I think the town
Yeah.
manager can
No, and I appreciate what you guys.
address that. I'm not,
We also just found
I'm
that out.
not, a-
Yeah,
I'm not an expert on mass municipal law.
no, but
Don't
I
play
was,
one on
I
TV,
happened to be
so.
the worst moderator that ever served this town. And even I would
I,
have gone along with this.
I have known you for a long time now, Mike. I
Yeah.
don't believe that to be true.
Thank you. Good
Oh,
job.
we got someone else.
We-
Confused.
Yep.
Like, so
Can
the
you-
ballots.
Can you just introduce yourself? Name and address, relation to any members of the committee?
Blood type.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Donna
a,
Gendro,
sorry.
60
It's-
Pearl Street. I just have a question. So the ballot's already printed
They
with
will,
everything already on it?
they will be, the ballot will be printed for the override question, yes.
Okay, so I'm confused if at town meeting, people said,
Yes, you want it.
like, I'm not interested in doing, I'm not picking on any department. I'm not picking on any department. What if somebody said they didn't want to vote for, just say DPW, just say
Yeah.
it. What if they-
Just used
just
as a
example.
random example.
Just a random
not
example.
In any way,
Not saying I'm not
Passing
going for it, I am,
judgment on-
nothing,
yes.
just that. If they said they don't want to vote for DPW, but on the ballot, it says DPW, so if the townspeople already spoke and said, no, we don't want to do that one, now people can come out to the election and vote yes?
No.
That
So-
seems not,
so and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but at town meeting, the warrant article for the budget will have the level service budget. Is it two separate articles?
It's one article, but
one
there's two. Do
article.
you want to put it up on the screen?
So,
typically,
it-
it's just the whole.
You're not gonna
right,
be,
it's again going to be the whole budget.
Oh, you don't, okay.
Documents.
So it'll be the whole budget, and we will vote on a motion for the level service version of the budget.
As
If-
a whole.
As a whole, not
I've been to town meeting.
not department by
Well, we're
department.
not, yeah.
Yeah, so you won't be saying at town, you won't be voting at town meeting
As many as-
of, I don't want DPW, to use the random example again.
Right,
Or
right.
I do want library. Like, that's not how we'll be voting at town meeting. We'll be voting on the budget. And whether we do the level service budget in one motion, level funded budget in a separate motion if level service fails.
I understand that.
And
I
then-
just feel that that's misleading to people. Because some people want, like, I want things from that menu style. I feel are very important to the town, and not picking on anybody again.
Nope.
And full disclosure, I work for the school. So there are things I want, and there are things I think maybe I don't want. And there, you know what I mean? So
And I don't think you will be the only person who feels
that's what I'm
that way.
saying. So I feel like it's misleading if
So,
people. And
we
then
will,
the same thing, and
I
to
think-
Barbara's point, I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
no, go ahead.
To Barbara's point, like, so people would think they're gonna get like a level service, and then in all reality, it
So,
won't be, if then we have to pick and choose, the next year going forward, we may be in the same hole because
I think-
we didn't service, like, you know.
in the lead up to town meeting and the special election, and especially at town meeting, we are going to need to be very clear in our communication of what we're talking about, what people are voting on, what the impacts are. I will be there talking
And you're
and
very good at that.
presenting.
That's what you are, but
I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if I agree with you, but I appreciate it. But
Misleading.
we will need to make it as clear as we possibly can, and we will certainly take any and all questions from people at town meeting to try to make sure that everyone understands what they're doing. I know that that doesn't always happen.
Right.
As anyone who was here when we approved marijuana zoning understands, clarity is not always in,
came in
in,
the right place.
Can I take this copy? Is this what's coming in the mail?
Yep.
Or-
That's what the
Well,
ballot, that's what
not
the ballot
official,
will
because
look like.
The official will have yes and no next to each of those seven.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You will.
I
Thank you.
have a concern with it already being printed. If it takes away anyone's, like, ability at town meeting to put a new motion on the floor.
I don't think it takes away the ability
If
to
we
put a new
can't
motion on the
reprint it.
floor. It will complicate what happens if it is passed, but it doesn't take away the ability to change amounts in a motion. That would have to be, again, that would have to be agreed upon by town meeting in a vote, so.
If I might, probably haven't done it in the last 2 years, but we used to be able to take the operating budget and go through it line by line. Fire, police, library. It's pointless to do that now, as I understand it.
So what we have typically done in the last several years is we have gone essentially page by page,
Right.
department by department, salaries, expenses, those kinds of things. And we will likely do that. We might go into more detail this year than other years, but one of the things that is provided that we've done in the past several years is we'll look at page one of the budget and say page one has accounting, assessors,
Yes, right.
whatever it is. And
Thank you.
we will and the moderator will ask, are there any questions on this?
I've done that, and they
So-
used to, I mean, they'd let like the schools, millions and millions of dollars, and they'd ask about a typewriter. But still,
Yes.
you had the opportunity to voice your opinion.
Yes.
And again, I'm just gonna say, the cart is before the horse. If there's one of the budgets, one of the departments that people feel strongly and wanted to go for level service, that would create a reason to have an override. And if town meeting decided not to do anything, then it and then,
Yep.
I don't know what it costs to have an election, but now we're talking not about one, we're talking possibly two. I'm leaving.
Well, it sounds like there wouldn't be a.
It wouldn't be a
second
second,
No,
election.
there's only one
There
election.
would
Only
be
one
a
election.
second
No.
town meeting.
Right.
Yeah, so if there is a discrepancy between the
How could it not
election,
be?
if there's a discrepancy between what town meeting votes in regard to the level service, the override necessary budget, if town meeting votes no on that, but the ballot votes yes, then there needs to be a reconciliation. If town meeting votes yes and the ballot votes no, there's no second town meeting. If they both vote no, no second town meeting. If they both vote
So what would
yes.
happen if town
It's
meeting?
only if town meeting says no and the ballot says
And
yes.
any part of the ballot.
Right.
Says yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a menu style, so if
So what if
any
town meeting
Senate-
said no to everything?
You still have the
Town
election.
meeting will
No,
either be yes or no to everything.
No,
That's real democracy.
Town meeting
Yes,
is yes
it
or,
is.
is yes or no to the budget. And then the ballot is more detailed yes or no, line by line, yes or no.
If everybody says no to town meeting, is it still in the election?
we're voting for
There is
budget,
still
we're gonna
an
vote
election.
for
That was what
budget.
we learned tonight.
Right.
We vote for the big budget, the level service budget, which has everything in it. And we say that's the level service budget. Then we
I
vote
agree.
in total.
But what if somebody stands up and says, I question the schools?
Then we can change it. That
We
was the
dis-
question I
We
asked
discuss it,
earlier.
and there could be an altered motion. an
Yeah, we can
amended
change
motion.
And would that alternate motion appear money-wise on the ballot?
It won't appear on the ballot because the ballot will already be printed,
Oh.
but I believe that it will,
So I think this gentleman, if I understand him correctly, he's thinking that the school money that's presented in the level service budget, someone can have the opportunity to increase it or decrease it.
You can't increase the, well, not, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
you can't increase the written.
Correct. But if they wanted to decrease it, it would show up with when they go to the ballot, so you'd have, I forget offhand, I can't see what the school's budget is, but if you can make it bigger, so let's
The
hypothetically,
smallest one up there.
right there. So let's say the school number, okay, 33, no, it's the 32, 594, 265, or the 34, 216, 379. So if someone wanted to amend the level service budget, that's the 34, 216, and they wanted to reduce that down to 32,594, 265, so that both level service and level funded budget are the same. Someone could do that. The problem is when they go to the ballot, then the ballot will say the higher number, the 34, 216, 379, which translates into 1,622, 114. And if people voted yes at the special election, it doesn't automatically, because now you have a negative vote at town meeting and a positive vote at the ballot box. But if enough of that happened, then you could have another town meeting. Because see, the laws aren't made up, and I'm not an expert, nor am I a lawyer. But there were two sets of people actually coming to vote. Now, they're all registered voters, because you only could be a registered voter to vote at town meeting. So you have a subset of people coming to town meeting, and then you have the remainder of the folks voting at the ballot box. That's why when the legislature crafted how you do a 2.5 override, you follow their recipe for how things have to be done. So that could happen. There's
Has
nothing
any
that
other
prevents.
town done it like this?
You can do a menu option, sure.
No, I understand that, but has any other town this is terribly confusing. Doesn't take much.
It's like 2 bites at the apple, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what, it really is.
Well, it's the town meeting, which is probably, 200 people. Then it goes to all the voters, which
Correct.
is whatever it is,
And I've often said,
1,500, 1,700.
the people that vote on the ballot box and the people that vote at town meeting are two different animals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm sorry, thank you.
No, absolutely. That's what.
This and was it not publicized that the vote was going on no matter
This is
what?
the select board.
Select board, yeah. Select board picks the style question, that's.
I
what
know
they
the
do.
select board picked the menu style, but did they also decide?
They don't decide, those are state rules, so
Okay.
how it's being done. Once you pick a certain way, it's always a vote at town meeting and a ballot box vote, because you're dealing with a very small segment of the registered voters versus all registered.
And that makes
voters.
sense, but
Yeah.
did they decide that I'm just trying to figure out how.
Did they decide the date of the special election?
Yes, well, I wasn't here, but I think they voted sometime in October.
I
They
just
did all
don't know
that.
how this popped on, that this was it wasn't a yes or no, it was a yes and then circle back and do it again, because also we are facing a budget crisis, and if we have to go back and do another town meeting, those are expensive too.
Yeah, there's a cost of having, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so if town meeting votes no, and any single part passes at the ballot, we do another town
We
meeting.
could, yeah, we could.
You're
That's-
saying we could, so it's not a requirement?
I'm not a lawyer, so we'd have to ask a lawyer that question if we're mandated to do that, and then it would be up to the select board, I believe.
Oh,
So we'll have to ask, I'll ask town council.
So
That
if
question.
you
Yep.
could get that information from.
Yeah.
okay, because then maybe this whole conversation is moot.
Well, I'd argue that if the town as a whole voted,
If the
I'd
larger.
want the
so
town meeting to come
typic-
back and say,
Typically,
okay,
I don't
That's
want
what
to
they
say
want.
no
typically
to
more
people.
people go to the ballot
Well-
at elections.
They
than
always
go-
do.
Than
Yeah.
go
Then
to
you go
town
to town
meeting.
meeting.
You're saying you
So if
would
there's a
wanna come
larger.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
back
Most people would,
for
yeah.
town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, because the
If,
townspeople
if
voted
one of
for it.
the overrides passed.
Right, but for what purpose? If it's fewer people at town meetings,
Because town meeting trumps an election. The people at town meeting decide what goes on a ballot. I've never heard it any other way. This
Yes,
sounds
but
illegal.
if 1,400 people decide that they want an
So I,
override.
no, I think what Donna is saying is she is surprised, as the rest of us were,
Yeah.
that if town meeting votes down the level services
okay,
budget,
yeah.
that there's
I
still
was
the
surprised,
special
yeah.
election.
Yes,
that
that's
people
really-
still have the opportunity to vote up the level service
Oh, I'm surprised at that
budget.
too.
So,
And in the
That
past, when
Kinda
we,
glad,
In-
when
actually.
an override proposal has failed at town meeting, there's never then been a ballot.
Right, I figured y'all would have mentioned that.
Yeah.
well, that was what I thought was going to happen as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, interesting.
I'll find out. I'll get
If you
something
could, that would
more
be great,
specific with
because
those scenarios.
I would be surprised if there's a scenario where an override vote passes at the ballot but is not enacted.
Have you heard of a situation like that where a menu style or an override in general failed and then went to a ballot and then had to go back? Have you ever heard of that happening? Or anything
may
where something
have.
was decided
Remember-
that turned to a
Remember,
vote?
overrides are very infrequent, although this year there's more overrides. There was a story in the Globe today. There were more overrides than have ever been requested because there are a lot of towns in financial troubles. But I will have to ask someone that's much more qualified than I am to
If you could,
the legality, but that's how it was explained to me. That's how it pans out.
we would definitely appreciate the answer to
Yes,
that. next week.
absolutely.
So, thank you.
Can I just make sure that I understand what we're saying? Matt, I'm sorry.
Yep, no, go ahead. Now, you're not the only person who's going to be confused about this, Barbara.
Okay, so it's being stated that if we go to town meeting and a level
Service.
funded budget is passed,
Yep.
a level funded budget is passed, we are still then going to hold an election at the ballot for an override?
Yes.
That's what I was told, yes. But I will find out from town council.
I don't even think that's possible.
So we will get the answer on that after the town manager talks to town council.
Okay, thank you.
Just one quick. Can the selectmen cancel?
That's another one that I don't know the
Can
answer.
they cancel the election?
I don't know the answer to that. So it's a good question, though. It's a very good question. Because if the vote is no to level service, yes to level funded, and the select board can cancel the election, you would think that they would cancel the
Is
election.
the election going to be one question too? I understood it was a menu.
It's a menu.
a
The
menu.
election is a menu. The warrant at town meeting is the budget. The override would be a menu.
Right, so
That's
again, if you want any individual piece of the level service override to
You
pass,
have to vote for the
you would
level
have to
service
vote
budget
the
for
as
the
a whole.
level, the entire, which is why it's a little
Yep.
misleading potentially, but you would have to vote yes
To
on the overall level service budget at town meeting in order to have the nope. In order to.
In order for both town meeting and the ballot to have passed.
Right, I was
the
going
level
to say, in
service
order to have the option to
You're
vote,
right.
but then we just,
It's not the option to vote, but it's for it to take effect.
for it to take,
If
sure.
it, if it passes at the ballot.
That, you're right.
Okay,
I think that's the way my mind has wrapped around it. For it to take effect, if it passes at the ballot, you have to also vote the level service
yes,
budget
right.
at town meeting.
that's,
And how much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
how the heck are we gonna explain that?
We just got some practice, so
Not enough, I feel like.
we've got over a
Because
month.
I feel like it was easy to explain, like, if you vote yes on this budget, then you get to vote at the but now it's,
It's
well,
honestly, it's essentially the
The
same. It's
same.
just not, if you vote no, you won't. But we'll find out more details on
yeah,
that next
okay.
week. So
definitely-
that might clear things up. It
Yeah.
might make things more muddy.
Okay,
We'll find out.
good times.
Stay tuned.
And I'll get an answer for that gentleman's question. Can the selectmen cancel the special election?
Excellent.
Yeah, I think
town council would have a lot, I think.
Right, that's who, yeah, yeah.
Because that's the only thing on the ballot, right?
Yes.
For
Yes,
that
that's correct.
election, yeah.
I assume select board knew that when they decided to do the special election, that no matter what, it was going to the box.
So the select board don't make up those rules. Those are municipal finance rules for a Prop 2.5 override. So it's part of a state regulatory process.
Okay.
So they might have.
They might have. I'm just wondering why the finance committee is feeling like we got the rug pulled.
Yeah.
Not blaming anyone. I just feel like, we all seem kind of dumbfounded by this.
Well, it's a process that doesn't happen all the time. I don't live here, so I don't know when the last time, but I think someone told me 2010.
It was 10 years ago and it failed, all of them. If I read that right.
Yeah,
I just don't
Yeah, it was
understand
more than 10, because
why-
it was not, I wasn't.
And at that time, it
wasn't on the
failed,
committee at the
it
time.
failed at town meeting.
Right, but
And
why would
so
be
then it was dead in the
different?
water. That was the end of
Yeah.
it. There was no ballot.
no, there
I-
was a ballot. We got the voting results
Actually, the
from
Yeah.
last time we had
2012.
anything, it was the school. The last time we had a special
Yeah.
election to vote, it was the school. And that had to pass at town meeting before it went on the ballot. But
But
it did pass, and then it passed at the ballot, so it's hard to say.
But overrides have
But-
failed.
the town clerk
Yes.
sent us something where there were votes
And there were
on a
numbers.
menu style
Yes.
Yeah.
But
in 2010 or 2000.
it was 2010, there was an override and that did fail. But Barbara, were you trying to say there was another one that didn't make it to a ballot?
Yeah, I don't remember going to the ballot when it failed, the vote at town meeting. I think I was under the impression that the numbers were from town meeting. I'll have to look at that again.
There were too many,
It was
Yeah.
thousands.
too many voters.
Yeah, I think that one was,
I think.
I thought
Yeah.
that one was
The
from
two-
the ballot.
I'm pretty sure 2010, we went to the ballot.
2010,
2010 was the ballot, it was one after that, it also was the ballot.
2000,
Leanne
yeah.
is awesome. Here it is.
Leanne's.
I thought that had
Yeah.
passed at town meeting
No,
though, to
special
go to the
town-
ballot.
Special town election, June 26, 2010.
Yeah.
And it's like, total votes, 1,100,
That one?
yeah,
But did
1,300.
it pass at town meeting?
I thought that passed at town
Yeah,
meeting
so
to
it's
Yeah,
vote.
different.
probably, I don't know, but it was a menu style.
That one was, there was one in 2009 and one in 2010, and they both failed
At the ballot.
at the ballot. I,
2009 was proposed on the floor of town meeting.
yes.
There wasn't one on the floor.
Oh,
I proposed it.
okay.
and
Good.
it failed
Glad to
the
have
ballot.
people here.
And there was one after that
Yeah.
failed on the ballot.
Oh,
That's
thank
what I
you.
was able to
Thank you,
find.
Andrew.
See if I can Google.
Wait, what are we looking at, Andrew?
This is the override history for Abington, according to the DLS.
So that 2010 doesn't even show unless it's.
Yeah, unless you can scroll down more.
Guess they don't update it as well.
No, because Leanne, like, Chris was
Yeah.
just showing, and I have the PDF that she sent, June 26th, 2010. We went to the ballot, and there was an override for police, fire, school, highway, council on aging, library, park and rec, and board of health. 8 separate questions on the ballot.
One that failed in 2009, which I don't see if they were schools, police and fire.
That was the one where North School closed.
Not looking at my phone, I'm looking at Proposition 2.5, yeah.
So,
Okay. This is interesting.
So we look forward to the additional information that we
Yes.
get next week.
Yeah, I went away.
That will hopefully clear things up for us so that we will be able to clear things up for others. Any other questions, comments on this portion of our meeting?
I just personally, this has nothing to do with anything. But something of this importance, to me, I understand why it would go to the ballot, even if 200 people at town meeting said, no, we don't want that whole thing. But that's just my opinion.
Anything else? Andrew, there's essentially no change on the amounts in level service or level funded budgets at the moment?
We do have some-
Since last week.
Yep, there's been no changes since last week. The health insurance number was locked in at 8%, which is what we budgeted for. It's a point of comparison.
Which it's,
I believe
it's,
that,
it's funny to feel like an 8% increase is good.
Right.
But an 8% increase is good,
it is good.
which is crazy.
To my-
And it's a good example of the pressures that municipalities face in budgeting year to year, where without significant growth in the town, our levy is capped at a certain amount,
2.5%.
and we have a lot of fixed costs that increase at higher percentages than what we can increase by. And the state is currently not particularly helping.
No.
Right.
So, and which leads to the article you saw in the Globe about this is the most towns looking for overrides ever.
Never.
So
Um,
Abington is certainly not alone.
There's a little bit more on the health insurance.
Okay.
We've been
Is it good more or bad?
good more.
Okay.
This board has
I'll
been
let you continue then.
wrestling with how to control health insurance costs.
Yep.
And I think the town overall has been doing well with with the health insurance that we chose.
Yep.
To my knowledge, Rockland is facing a 19% health insurance increase, and Mayflower, which is an alternative,
Which we used to be in.
right, they're facing a 10%. So
Yeah.
8%, we'll take it.
Yep.
Yep.
And GIC, I think's even much higher than all of those.
So
Yeah. So,
And Meyer, I think's higher than 10 too.
yeah.
Healthcare's a budget buster,
Fixed costs.
but you
going
have to
through
have
the roof.
healthcare, absolutely.
So. Any other updates?
that's it.
Okay. Anyone have any questions there?
No.
All right. Do we have any liaison reports?
Yes.
Oh, Floyd has one.
I had a question for the fire department. I asked about overtime, when they do mutual aid for towns nearby, is
As we
overtime
talked about last
accumulated?
week.
Who pays for overtime? Is it the town we aided, or is it our budget? It is our budget. But what Chief Glenn explained to me was, he said, in anticipation of my next question, then what does that look like? And he said it's a wash for the most part, that we assist just about as equally as the towns assist us when we need assistance.
Okay,
Question.
that's good.
That's
Thank
correct.
you for that follow-up.
Yeah, no problem.
Questions there? Any other liaison reports? Correspondence, we had no correspondence again this week. Again this week, we have no minutes to review. Does anyone have any other things to bring up for this week?
I enjoyed the videos about the department heads from town manager.
Thank you. I have 3 more being done this Friday.
Excellent.
Police, Council on Aging, Library.
Do you want to say where people can view those?
Right up on the town website. And we did a blast, I think Samantha did a blast to tell folks where they can find it.
Are they also on Abington Cam?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Yep.
I've been sharing them.
Any thoughts of putting a sign up at like Trukey's or Stop and Shop? Advertising your informationals with the department heads regarding an override?
I can certainly look into that. I don't know what the sign bylaw is. I'd like to have a sign out on Glenowitz Way as parents are coming in and out with the dates of the election. I mean, we have to sort of be careful what we do on town property, but it'd be nice to have a full.
I'm thinking more of just like a poster, like a piece of paper, like, look like a lost dog type size piece of paper. Just, posted maybe at the post office, or I don't know if you can do that at the post office.
No,
Well,
you
yeah,
probably
because it's
can't.
just informational. It's just sharing the information of where to find the information.
Yep. Might be,
Supermarket, we could probably put something up in their
Supermarket would be
window,
good
and they have
if
that
we're-
board. They have like a board in there.
if we're doing that, see if maybe Samantha can put a QR code on it that people can just
Yes.
Right.
scan.
Yep.
Obviously, not everyone will know how to
Use the
handle a QR code, but having it.
No, but everyone needs to grocery
Both
shop
stated
and
there
advertise
and
on a
have the
piece of
QR
paper
code.
where
will draw
to
the
go
most
on
people.
Abington Cam, or to, like you say, scan the QR code, or go to a website, or if people had some couple of options, not just the QR code, man.
Yep.
No,
No,
that's
that,
great.
and that's what I was, that you're right in line with me, Barbara. I was not thinking only a QR code. I was thinking a QR code in addition to the printed information, so.
We'll have the, can have flyers printed privately.
Yep. I do know there's some groups being formed to try to bring attention to the override. And they-
Yeah, because it's
they
really
might
hard.
be able to help.
Yeah, because it's hard, because people in government can't do it. You cannot use, would be run afoul with campaign finance laws.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily, so not necessarily like, I wouldn't advertise at the supermarkets promoting an override, just if you'd like the information on what's going on with the town budget, please follow
Go to this,
along these, go to this site, scan this QR code to inform yourself.
yep,
And come to town meeting.
yes.
And vote.
And
Yes.
yeah, and vote. Right.
Yes.
Well, it-
So question that I had real quick before we get to that, and then one other point as well. Question I have is, do we expect to have the warrant next week?
He's not back until the 3rd,
Okay, so not next week.
so we would definitely have it for the 8th.
Yep.
Follow-up question, is there a need for a meeting next week if we don't have a?
Do we expect anything coming up, any finalization of numbers or any change whatsoever?
I don't anticipate any changes.
Okay. So do we want to turn my previous jokes about us not joking that we're having a meeting on April Fool's Day into an actual joke? And we won't be meeting on April Fool's?
Information from.
You know I'm gonna
That's
accidentally
true.
show up.
Well, Abby raises a good point that we're hoping for the clarifying information.
Yep.
that
next
sounds
week.
like it could be an email. Sorry.
I will anticipate having questions.
Yeah, and we can't go back and forth on email, so.
But does it
Would-
matter if we
do
do
we
the
need-
1st or the 8th? I mean, I don't
I
care.
think,
can
I
come
think
next
we
week.
could wait for the 8th.
Okay.
Yeah,
On
yeah, like,
that,
what does
it also gives the
change?
town manager more time to meet with town council, talk to whoever he needs to talk to, and make sure he's got all of the information that he has, and we don't have to rush him on that, so. Is everyone okay with the 8th as our next meeting?
Yep.
Any objections?
Works for me.
One other quick point of follow-up. that I had from last week. I know I had told this to the members of the committee, but for anyone who watched our meeting last week and saw all sorts of discussion about whether or not to bring back the question of fee for trash and take that out of the budget and potentially decrease the amount of money that we need to spend towards balancing the budget and money that we would need to spend on an override. The town manager did follow up with the select board, and the select board has chosen to not put that on the warrant for town meeting this year. They said to follow up with the new board when the new board is elected in April after the town election.
But before town meeting?
So, before town meeting, but after the warrant is
I know.
finalized and printed, so.
But
Is that
not
new?
to say that someone couldn't. Never mind.
So, any other topics, questions, comments?
For anyone
Motion-
following along at
motions.
home, if you have found this conversation to be enthralling, we have two
Yes.
openings on
We
the
do
finance
indeed.
committee. So please come join the fun.
And I will say I have actually gotten a little bit of interest from people. We do understand that right now is a very difficult time to jump into the committee where we're almost done. But you could certainly feel free to inquire with the town moderator about the spots. We would welcome having you join the committee. You would not have to do much before town meeting between now and then. There would be some votes that you would potentially vote on, but you could also abstain from any votes that you wanted to between now and then on the grounds that you weren't here for all of the meetings.
You
You
could also
didn't
just
have all the
wait to
information.
join until after.
Or you can wait to join. There'll be more competition afterward.
Kind of like a September call.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Just putting it out there.
Star
I
prospects.
feel like we hadn't mentioned it in a while, so.
It's a good point. We do have two open seats on the board right now. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn,
I'll second.
motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Against? Abstaining? It is unanimous. We are adjourned. We will see you on April 8th.